to Jake Jackets. Gear up to fire the cannon and hit the ice with your host, Jay Ashdown and Jake Gehringer.
Just cleared off a bunch of space anyway.
I've never been to Roosters before.
You've never been to a Roosters?
We don't have any up in Cleveland. At least not that I know of. I've never seen any around here.
Huh.
And, like every time I go to Columbus, like I go to BD's.
Oh yeah, BD's.
BD's is so freaking good, man.
Oh
so,
yeah, it is.
You know, anytime I'm down there, I'm like, gotta hit a BD's, get my food, and then. But I've heard good things about it. I've never had really the chance to go.
It's really good. It's super good. And I've got a couple of good bartenders at the one over here in town. They take good care of me. It's nice.
Yeah.
So, these playoffs are wild, eh?
I can't, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I've been watching for about 12 years now for hockey.
Uh-huh.
I can't remember a playoff that had multiple buzzer beaters in it. I remember Tyler Johnson scored a goal against Carey Price. I think it was like 2014, 2015, whatever, with like a second left to win the game against the Canadiens. But I can't remember playoffs that had multiple buzzer beating goals to win games.
Was there more than one in the bubble? Because I remember Nas had the one.
He had the one against
in the qualifier.
But that wasn't
that was in their round robin.
Exactly. So it wasn't even really a playoff.
It was technically,
you know. So that's where
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's
I
still
remember
like
Brad Richards scored one, I think, in 2012 against the Capitals. But that wasn't even a game-winning goal. That was a game-tying goal.
Mm-hmm. That's still my favorite celebration ever.
What?
Is Nas just like taking out his mouth guard and going, "I did it!"
Yeah, yeah.
And just the giddy look on his face. I'm like, man,
yeah, these playoffs have been nuts. I mean, look at the matchups that we've gotten. They've been unbelievable.
Battle of Florida, Battle of Alberta, Leafs Bolts.
Leafs Bolts was really good. Penguins Rangers was really good.
Was awesome.
Hell, Canes Bruins was champion. Fuck. We got the Gretzky Bowl in the first round.
Gretzky Bowl, yeah.
Yeah, we've and also like I know it wasn't the most exciting series because of how much of a lack of offense there was, but
Flames and Stars was unbelievable.
That was a hell of a series. And then the second round, we might not get a game 7 in the second round, and the series has still been fun as hell to watch.
Let's get into this. So I'm gonna start with the my brain is everywhere. I'm gonna start with the East, and we're gonna start with Hurricanes Rangers because that series is technically still going on.
Yes.
Which could end by tonight.
I don't think it will.
No. So Carolina's up 3-2.
It is staggering how much better that team is at home.
Yeah, the whole thing, and I was just in a voice chat before this, and shout out to our buddy Timbo Slice, our resident Hurricanes fan.
Yeah.
Shout out to Tim. He is so disappointed by how much these guys cannot win on the road.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is. I don't don't get me wrong. The Hurricanes crowd is phenomenal. So that's excellent. Yes. But I don't think, and this isn't like I just said, they're unbelievable. Canes fans are great. I don't think they make that much of a difference, though. Right? What's the deal here?
It's Madison Square Garden, Jay.
But
that's what it
this was a problem in the first round against Boston. Maybe they just don't like playing in gardens.
Hurricanes destroy gardens, don't you know?
It sounds like gardens are destroying the shit out of the Hurricanes right now.
It's the eye of the storm.
I'll tell you, there's nothing funnier than Twitter's just such a great place sometimes. And
no, it's not.
That's why I said sometimes.
Sometimes, yeah, you're right.
Hurricanes tweeted that graphic, like that art thing of like, oh, a hurricane circling in New York State, and it's right around the Empire State Building. And the official Twitter account for the Empire State Building
tweeted back.
It was the hurricane, and it was like a picture of like a table, like a plastic table with 4 plastic chairs, and one of them was knocked over.
Like a kid's table?
Yeah. Like it was just like one chair was knocked over and that was it. It was just completely unaffected.
Oh my God.
I thought it was funny as hell, but it's crazy, man. I don't think I've ever seen a team. Like I said, I've been watching the playoffs for 11, 12 years. I don't remember a team struggle this much on the road and be so damn dominant at home.
Well, it's funny because that's one storyline. Another storyline's the goaltending, really, because you have Igor on one end, just being Igor, and then Antti Raanta has looked really, really good, despite,
I was talking to Alex because I was going through, one thing I do like randomly, like late at night sometimes, is I'm a huge fan of Steve's trade trees.
Oh, of course. The trade trees are phenomenal.
So there's a couple that, like, he obviously hasn't done because, you know, he can't do every trade that's ever happened. So, like, I'll do the research on my own. It is amazing to me that the 2017 trade of Derek Stepan and Antti Raanta for the 7th overall pick and Tony DeAngelo between the Coyotes and the Rangers, the winner of that trade was the Carolina Hurricanes. Because think about it, the Rangers got Tony DeAngelo for a couple of years, and he was good. But then obviously fell out of favor with the whole incident with Georgiev. They had to buy him out of his contract, which, because he's not 20, he wasn't 25 when they bought him out. It really wasn't that big of a deal because he only had 1 year left. So they're really paying him next to nothing for this year and next year. So they're fine. But they only got like a couple seasons out of Tony DeAngelo. That was really it. Elias Anderson was the 7th overall pick.
Ooh.
And then Raanta couldn't really stay healthy with the Coyotes. Kemper ended up becoming that guy for them. And Stepan never really became what they were hoping he would be. They were kind of hoping, like, hey, this guy could maybe be a first-line center for us. And
he regressed really hard in Ottawa, too. Like, really bad.
And now he's not doing a ton for the Hurricanes. Sometimes he'll draw in the bottom 6, but still, he's a depth piece for them, and he's a pretty solid depth piece for a team to have. And
he's also at the tail end of his career. Like, there's no shame in that.
He's got another year or 2 left, maybe.
Maybe.
But the big two, obviously, Tony DeAngelo has been fantastic for the Hurricanes, and Antti Raanta the guy.
Tony's kept his nose clean.
Yeah, we've talked about this, and there's another guy specifically who's also kept his.
We'll talk about him later too.
I got to give him credit because there's been so many incidents with him going back to his days in the O. I'm fairly certain it was the O that he played in.
Yes,
but either way, like he had a couple incidents, with officials back then, some with his own teammates,
a lot of stuff with teammates where he's just not a great dude. He's just not a good guy. In terms
of how, like, what kind of a prospect he was, if he's a guy who's just quiet, he just doesn't talk to anybody, not the shining bright in the room, that everybody looks to and loves, but just quiet guy, doesn't get on anybody's bad side, not super close. Like, teams don't care.
Just does his own thing. If you stay to yourself,
you go about your business, whatever. he would have been a top 5 pick in that draft.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt about it. And he fell all the way to 19. And then he was traded just a couple years after being the 19th overall pick, even though he was developing well, for the 36th overall pick because he was still having issues. That pick became Libor Hayek.
Oh.
Which, not a very good player, but they flipped him and Brett Howden and a couple other prospects and got Ryan fucking McDonough. So anyway, trade trees. But then, he goes to the Rangers. He has his ups, his downs. It's been so inconsistent. He gets bought out, and I think that was it. Because he was going to make, he signed a 2-year deal with them, $4.5 million per average annual value. It's a lot of money, Jake.
That is a lot of money.
And that was the straw that I think.
That's top 4 money. That's
100% for a guy who's really young. It was the first big deal that he'd ever gotten outside of his entry. He got his entry deal, and then he re-upped a couple times for $925,000.
Because what else can you do if you're
exactly. And he missed out on a fuck ton of money simply for just being an asshole.
For being a racist and an asshole. And
now I don't know what's in his head or in his heart as far as how he feels about people, whatnot. And it's not my job to speculate.
I mean,
but
we know, but we don't at the same time. It's one of those things. Yeah.
But you're right. He's kept his nose clean. He's been out of the news. He hasn't done anything wrong. I think Rod Brindamore has a hell of a lot to do with that because
oh yes, absolutely.
He's a hell of a coach and a hell of a person.
Dude, look at him. He could still play.
Yeah, that might be it. Tony DeAngelo's probably just scared to make any mistakes.
Yeah.
Just beat the shit out of him. Rob the bod for a reason, man.
Yeah.
But it was a perfect situation because the Hurricanes lost Dougie Hamilton. They needed a top 4 right-hand shot defenseman who's good offensively. They can deal with, someone who's maybe not great defensively like Tony DeAngelo because, Dougie wasn't the most stout defensively either.
Dougie wasn't a stalwart, yeah.
And he didn't need to be because they had him with Jacob Slavin. So they're like, this is all we need. We'll save a fuck ton of money just signing Tony DeAngelo instead.
Put Tony with Jacob and you're fine.
Yeah. So it's interesting with the season he's had and how well he's been in the playoffs. I'm interested to see what kind of deal he's going to get, but he's been a huge part of this for the Hurricanes. If the Hurricanes do go all the way, like I picked in my bracket, he's going to be a big part of that.
A couple of former Rangers helping the Canes out.
For real?
Because it's weird. It's funny looking at all the matchups we've seen so far. And thinking about how many former players are crossing paths with their former teams.
Okay, do me a favor. There are 6 former Rangers on the Hurricanes right now. Name all of them.
Name all of them?
Yes, I'm gonna time you. Okay.
Okay. Well, half of them. Okay, let me know.
Start. 60 seconds.
Ranta, DeAngelo, Stepan, Brendan Smith. 4. Oh shit. Those are the only 4 I can think of off the top of my head. Because I know Freddie wasn't one. Brett Howden's not there. He's in Vegas. No, I'm losing it.
It's okay. You still got 25 seconds.
I can't think of very much more. No, I'm drawing a total blank on the other 2.
Okay, so one of them is fuck, I literally just said Brady Shea.
Oh, Shea, that's right. Yep.
And then Jesper Fast.
Oh, they do have Jesper Fast.
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, I think it's because those 2 have become such big, just depth pieces for the Hurricanes that's why I forgot about them. Because they were really in the spotlight in New York because, I mean, it's fucking New York. But they don't have to be in Carolina.
Yeah, and here's the thing: like Brady Shea is like the epitome of like big body defenseman who you can see the skill, but
I still
slow
remember
at
him.
times.
I still remember him
Competitive.
picking up Brendan Lemieux's tooth
Yeah.
after he got a slew foot from Christian Jaros. Ugh.
Ugh.
He
But
was just like, "Hey, here it is." It's like,
what Carolina's done that I'm impressed with is they're similar to Florida in that they can get these talented players
mhm,
who have all the tools,
right.
but are analytics nightmares.
I
Like a
mean,
break,
the Rangers have that too.
and it's worked out. Like Brady Shea's been really good in Carolina. He's been a fit.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, I'm impressed with what the Hurricanes have done. They're clearly the better team. That should not be debated.
The Rangers, I want to give the Rangers their props.
Yeah, I mean they made it to the second round. They're, if they lose the series, it's either going to be in 6 or 7 against a good team in
Well,
Carolina.
because you have Igor back there doing his thing.
And he's been excellent.
Igor Shesterkin has been excellent all friggin' year, and that hasn't stopped yet. You got your top line of Kreider, Zibanejad, Panarin.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Stroms looks okay.
Andrew Kopp's been huge.
Andrew Kopp has been the biggest trade acquisition I think they've had in like the past 4 years.
Definitely for sure, because I tell you, like they have a decision to make this off season. You can only keep one of the two, and I know he hasn't been there long. I would actually rather keep Andrew Kopp than I would Ryan Strome.
Probably.
I think he fits perfectly in New York. And the other thing is, I feel like you could probably get him a little cheaper than Strome. I think Kopp does a little bit more than Strome, but Strome's been putting up the points for the last couple of years, and he's going to cash in on his big payday.
Well, Strome also really worked well with Bread when Bread first got there.
Oh, 100%. Bread and butter right there. Speaking of bread, sometimes, broccoli cheddar soup.
Make a chip butty later.
And
bring those back.
Don't ask why I was thinking about them in the shower, but I was thinking about them in the shower this morning.
What, chip buddies?
That was a fucking ridiculous thing.
You were thinking about chip buddies this morning.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why. I was in the shower and it just came into my head, and I was like, that was a pretty fucking wild thing that we talked about.
I watched that clip back, and I watched the Vlog Brothers video all the time. It's just so funny.
But yeah, there's no doubt. Like, I don't want to suggest that the Rangers aren't a good team. They are a very good team. They're just not a great team. Mm-hmm. And there's nothing wrong with that, because they're not expected to be a great team yet. This is the penultimate year. The year before your true window is open to win a Stanley Cup.
The window is cracked.
100% your guy. You've got a Norris caliber defenseman in Adam Fox. Mm-hmm. You've got an unbelievable defenseman in Keandre Miller and the improvement that he has showed.
Yes, Keandre's looked amazing.
Ryan Lindgren is easily top 4 defenseman, and so is Jacob Trouba. So your top 4 at the set.
There is a little bit of controversy with Trouba this year.
Yeah, in these playoffs specifically, with a couple of hits, some of them have been borderline. But as far as his game is concerned, to me, doesn't matter if you put Miller with Fox or with Trouba. Mm-hmm. Either way, in your top 4, you've got on your right side Norris caliber defenseman and Fox. He's your number 1.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent offensively and excellent defensively. You've got an excellent defenseman in Ryan Lindgren. Mm-hmm. You've got an excellent defensive-minded, not even defensive-minded, but excellent defensively in Keandre Miller on the left side, but also pretty good offensively.
Oh, yeah, he can put up points.
Good puck work. And then, Trouba is lackadaisical defensively, but he's good offensively.
Right.
And you can deal with that because, again, you're either pairing him with Ryan Lindgren or with Keandre Miller, who can
And
hold their weight defensively
yes,
and let him
exactly.
do what he needs to do. Your top four set. You've got Panarin, you've got Zibanejad, you've got if you're going to keep one of Strome and Cobb. It's not
Right.
going to be a situation where both of them leave. You're keeping one of those two guys. They're solid.
You have the two kids.
Yeah, you need to see improvement offensively from Kakko. A lot of improvement offensively from Kakko. He's great defensively, but
Right.
been nowhere near what you would had hoped he'd be offensively. And then
Lafreniere, yeah,
Lafreniere's he's the opposite, where
he's got to improve defensively.
he's got to improve defensively. You can deal with his offense. His offense has been fine. It's just that he's not getting like a crap load of minutes.
You have one forward in your top two picks right now.
Yeah. Oh my God, you could deal with one of them being a bust if one of Lafreniere and Kakko, if Lafreniere was who he is offensively with Kakko's defense.
Okay, so I don't know because I haven't been able to watch very many games. I don't know where they're playing in the lineup.
So they've actually changed it. So the top line is Kreider, Zibanejad, and Lafreniere.
Okay.
And they're putting Strome with Panarin.
Right. Because
which chemistry. I actually like.
And well, you have previous chemistry there.
100%. And Cobb's been doing his thing.
And then is Laff on
second, third?
Is Laff on Ryan's left? Or no, wait, Kakko's probably on the third line, right?
Yeah, they've been switching it up. So for the majority of the regular season, the first line that I mentioned is what they've been rolling with, and the second line they've been doing Panarin and Strome together. They've actually changed it up a little bit in these playoffs, specifically in the Pittsburgh series.
How much Gerard Gallant likes to shuffle his guys.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that coaching matchup? Brindamore and Gerard Gallant.
Yeah.
This is a hell of a head coaching matchup.
Two feisty guys. I love these guys in their energy.
Yeah.
Their teams follow suit. You got Gallant fucking shouting, "Shut the fuck up" at Tony DeAngelo.
You need that shit.
Hell yeah. That's fucking great. These teams fucking
classic
each other, and I love that. That's great for the sport. But
I'm very excited to see what tonight can bring. And if this goes 7, bring it on.
Yeah, absolutely. Game 7 I wouldn't complain about a game 7. But the last point I want to make about their lines is the playoffs. As of recently, they did it in the Pittsburgh series and they've done it at times in the Carolina series. Mm-hmm. They've done the kid line. So they put Kakko, Lafreniere, and Hedl together.
Oh, Hedl, that's right. Hedl's looked really, really good too.
Yeah, let me tell you, man, he has been soft and not the kind of guy that the Rangers thought that they were getting in the last couple of seasons in the regular season. A lot of fans were starting to turn him in a little bit. He's been phenomenal in these playoffs.
I mean, he made Blackwell kind of expendable.
Made him really expendable. He is, if you're going to show up at any time, this is the time to do it. And I think he's turning heads and giving some hope that next year might be a breakout season for him with his play. So. And it's not just
I like that player.
The last 2 to 3 weeks of the regular season too. So the last month or so, he's been really good. Mm-hmm. And that's good for the Rangers because if they are going to win this series, they're not just going to need the top end guys to do it. Obviously, you're going to need the next 2 games. Igor's going to have to be phenomenal the way that he's been all series. He hasn't been an issue at all. You're going to need your top 4 D to be as good as they are. You're going to want your top end guys to play well. Obviously, Panarin to Zibanejad to Kreider, those guys. But to me, their X factor in these next 2 games is they need some. It's not even just production. Mm-hmm. They need energy every time that kid line is on the ice.
Get the kids out there and then throw Revo out there to knock some guys around.
Exactly. Because like I said, this isn't like the year that the Rangers need to be, competing for a cup. It's progress. Their Chicago series against Detroit season.
Okay.
In 2009, where they got to the conference final, they weren't quite ready yet. They win the Stanley Cup the next year. Yep. Or it's like, when the Penguins in 2007 got the shit kicked out of them by the Senators. The next year they come back, they beat the Senators, they get to the Cup final, they lose, but then the next year they beat the Red Wings. So like
Right.
it's that for the Rangers.
It's Caps versus Penguins.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the Caps finally getting over the hump with Pittsburgh.
That's what it could be next year. If they face a team, say they upgrade in the offseason, which I expect them to do. I expect their players to get better.
They play Carolina again.
They play Carolina again, they beat them. And this is assuming that they lose. They could win. They could move on to Tampa.
Would that not be a really fun Eastern Conference final? Rangers in Tampa?
Rangers in Tampa would be
with so many former players from
so many former players. Yeah.
And okay, so let's transition over into the Battle of Florida, because this is another one of those series. Obviously, the first round had a lot of this, but even now, there's so many players that have played for the previous team that they're up against.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we talked about Kings and Oilers being the Gretzky Bowl, but it was also like a little bit of a Luch Bowl, right?
Oh, fuck. That's right. He was a king.
Because he was a king for a while. He was a Lucic Bowl for a bit.
Yeah.
But then, like, in the Battle of Florida, you got guys like Carter Verhaeghe haven't played both sides.
Yeah. Damn. The Oilers were so pissed about that Milan Lucic signing, and it didn't work out. That they beat his former team in the Kings, his former team in the Kings, and then his current team in the Flames.
We'll get to them in a second.
Yeah.
But this Battle of Florida wasn't much of one. I'm kind of disappointed.
Tampa, in my opinion, was always going to win that series.
Well, yes.
But it changed with the goal by Ross Colton.
That really was the turning point, wasn't it?
Even if they lost that game in overtime, the Panthers, I still feel like they could have won a game or two in this series. Giving up an overtime goal sucks, obviously. Giving up a goal with less than 5 seconds left in regulation, and it's the game winner.
That's so crushing.
Demoralizing.
That's so crushing.
Because you have it whether obviously you gotta get the bleed off the last few seconds and whatnot. But if it's a tie game and there's 15 seconds left, your brain naturally just goes to this might go to overtime.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you're already mentally preparing or whatnot, but that's just in your mind. Like, this thing could go to overtime. We gotta get this done in overtime.
Would love to see it go to overtime.
Score a goal with less than 5 fucking seconds. You go, oh my God.
This is trouble.
It was major trouble. And to me, it showed a lot of flaws in Florida that we have been talking about all year long. Well, that they're unbelievably talented and great at scoring goals. And, they're great at playing from behind. And, you got all those comeback wins.
That's what I think really did him in, too, was just the thought process of coming from behind so many times, sticking with that. You can't rely on that.
Exactly. It's good to know that there's no quit in your team, and that no matter the deficit, could be 1 goal, 2 goals, 3 goals, maybe even 4 goals. We're never going to quit. Right. We're going to find a way. We're going to.
We saw that with Columbus this year a lot.
Yeah, we saw a lot of that. And that's a good thing inherently in that you're never out of a game.
Right.
However, on the flip side, when you do it so damn often, the question is, why the fuck are you down so goddamn often if you're so
right?
And that's the problem. It's you can do it in the playoffs. We've seen Columbus do it. They came back 3-0 down against the Penguins in Game 4 of 2014. They were down 3-0 to Tampa. Did that in 2019. They were
2020, same thing against Toronto.
Toronto. We've seen this before from Columbus. Hell, they were down 3-1 in game 2 against the Penguins in 2014. They came back. That was an exciting win.
Down 3-0 against Tampa in the sweep, like you said. Like that was probably the biggest one.
It's the most major one. It's the most significant one, no doubt about it. But it's unbelievable. Like, but even though we've seen it,
it's unsustainable.
It's a hell of a lot harder to do in the playoffs than it is in the regular season. And you can't make it a habit. And that's the thing that it worked so well for the Blue Jackets is it wasn't a habit in any of those years. They weren't the comeback Blue Jackets in 2014 or 17, 18, 19, 20. They weren't. They just had a competitive belief that they could do it. They always battled and they took momentum, and that's how they ran with it. You know, Florida, to me, showed – I know that they won a playoff series, Jake. They are not further ahead than the Leafs. Not a chance. I don't care that they won a first-round series against Washington. They skated by – they skated the skin of their damn teeth against a Washington Capitals team they should have mopped the floor with.
Oh, yeah. The Capitals being able to get back into that series was really troubling to see.
You're down 2-1 in this series. You lose game 1 close. You get blown out in game 3. You have to score a goal. You have to come back and score a goal with a goalie pulled in game 4 just to tie the series.
Without a guy like Tom Wilson through the majority of the series, too. They didn't have Tom Wilson for what, 4 games?
Yes, and Tom Wilson's the injury was far more significant than we once thought. He's
out 6 to 8 months.
So they didn't even have one of their top players. I know that he's not Ovi or Backstrom. Tom Wilson, in my opinion, is a top 3 most important Washington Capital to their team to this day.
He's one of the most impressive. Okay. Forget his suspension history, his discipline history, whatever you want to talk about. Forget that for a second. This guy is one of the most impressive power forwards
we've ever seen
that this league has.
Yes. Jake, this guy, 6'3", 6'4".
Big boy, yeah.
Big guy. Goes to the net, can deflect pucks, can really make life a living hell on opposing defensemen in net front battles. Is physical, is not afraid to hit anybody and knock the wind out of you.
It's always
a pain in the ass to play against. He's an underrated playmaker, has a really this guy's an let me tell you, I know a lot of people hate this guy.
I hate this guy, but
lying to yourself if you say you wouldn't take him on your team.
No, it's the 3 guys that always get brought up in the discipline stuff, right? It's Tom Wilson, it's Brad Marchand, it's Nazem Kadri.
Yes, it's those 3.
It's those 3 guys, and you would
fool if you wouldn't take them on your team.
Any of them.
Are you kidding me? If I could create a team today, we talked about this, I'd make a line of those 3 guys. Give me Marchand, give me Naz at center, give me Tom Wilson on the
right. Yeah.
Have fun with that. Are you kidding me? Oh, that is a living hell.
No, and it's because not only will these guys wear you down and be rats and just wreck your day,
it's mental too. It's not just physical.
It's physical, it's mental, and they can all put up so many points. They're such skilled players.
How many? Dude, Brad Marchand's hit 100 points in his career multiple times.
Nas average is like 90.
He's been unbelievable. And Tom Wilson's like a perennial 30-goal scorer.
Yeah. At least 25. Right?
Nazem Kadri was 19th in the National Hockey League this year in points with 87 in 71 games. He didn't even play the entire year.
Dude, he was on pace to crush 100 points before he got hurt.
And if he continued at that exact pace, he hits exactly 100. He's been a 100-point player this year. that's a guy who's gonna get paid.
He's gonna get his.
Oh, is he
he's
gonna
gonna
get
get
a lot
his
of money? I'll tell you, man.
Okay,
That is a hell of a player. But yeah, but getting back to they didn't the whole point of that. Tom Wilson, unreal player. Whether you like him or not, unreal player. They didn't have that guy.
no.
They don't have an established goaltender. They don't know if their goalie's Vitek Vanacek or Ilya Samsonov. They go back and forth. That team took you to 6 games. You had to come back from 3-0.
Florida has Bob.
In the series. You were down 3-0 in Game 5, and they scored a
We
goal.
made this way more about the Capitals than about the Panthers. Let's be frank.
Because I believe that the Capital series is more indicative of the Panthers as a team than the Lightning series is, because the Lightning are unbelievable. The Lightning could do that to anybody.
Andrei Vasilevsky just doing his thing. I texted you this through
stupid.
Through the second round, through this 4-game sweep. Andrei Vasilevsky had a 981 save percentage. 981.
I could do that. Dog, I can't even do that in Chell.
David Ayers could do it.
Fucking ridiculous. This guy's unbelievable. And here's the thing. Because he's so good, I don't think that the Tampa series is necessarily a fair way to evaluate the Panthers, because goalies get hot sometimes. Carey Price has done it before. Henrik Lundqvist has done it
Bob's
before.
done it plenty.
Ben Bishop's done it before. Ben Bishop, underrated goalie. We talked about him before.
Mm-hmm.
He's done it before. You know,
Khudobin got hot in the bubble.
sometimes goalies get hot, you know, especially like the really fucking good. Jonathan Quick. Quick.
Yeah.
Roberto Luongo. Tim Thomas.
Corey Crawford.
We've seen this before. So sometimes it's not totally fair to judge a team for, you know, getting swept if they can't fucking score because the goalie's, you know, red hot.
Just that good.
Vasilevsky is the best goalie in the National Hockey League, and he's red hot. That is the worst combo you could run into.
Oh, yeah.
To me, I don't think that series is fair to judge the Panthers on. The series I'm judging them on is a series they won, but oh my God, they looked like shit.
You should have won that.
That
one should have been a sweep, and
they didn't score a power play goal in that series. That's and I'm not trying to say that Washington's a bad hockey team.
No, because they're not.
In terms of the regular season and just on paper and all that, they can't hold a candle to Florida. How does that happen? That series almost went 7.
Okay. Because the big thing now, specifically with Florida, right?
Mm-hmm.
How much? Because the trade acquisitions, Claude Giroux was a ghost. Ben Sherratt was a ghost.
Yeah.
You
don't have a ton of money.
What do you do with those guys? And then do you run it back with Andrew Burnett?
Here's what I'll say about Andrew Burnett. I absolutely would run it back with Andrew Burnett, because understand the situation with Andrew Burnett. He's not a guy who's supposed to be a head coach this year.
Right.
I like him. I think he's a smart guy. He's a good player. Seems like a very decent person.
He used Q's systems well, at least the ones that he adopted.
They don't get swept if Joel Quenneville's their coach. The problem is there's not a world that can exist where Joel Quenneville's your coach after that.
Right.
So, to me, I don't think you give up on Andrew Burnett. The team's good. They seem to like him. They play well for him. But he said it himself. He learned a lot in that series. I think that every coach needs to go through that. Every coach needs to have that learning lesson of just getting eaten alive by another coach. And what a better coach to eat you alive than John Cooper. You know
what this is? And I've heard this talked about on the SDP. I've heard it talked about with CJ and Julian. I've heard it talked about elsewhere. This Battle of Florida for the Panthers is what Tampa went through in 2019 with Columbus.
100%. Now, will it result in the Panthers winning back-to-back Stanley Cups? And
Probably not.
Probably not. But I think it's important to them. John Cooper's always been a good coach, but John Cooper got eaten the fuck alive by John Tortorella in 2019.
Yeah.
He hasn't looked back since.
They needed a wake-up call, and this is Florida's wake-up call.
They needed it badly because Tampa was an unbelievable team. And remember, it's not like they had been perennially underachieving prior to that.
No.
They had just made the conference final the year prior to that. They were a game away from going to the final. They probably would have beaten Vegas. They could have won a cup.
They could have.
5 wins away.
Anyone can.
In the Stanley Cup final in 2015 against Chicago, and that's Chicago that when they were still really good. So like, it's not like Tampa was a consistent choke or anything like that, but they got that label after getting fucking swept, being a 62-win team, and they took that and they said, and here's the difference in my opinion. It's not just how they need to play differently, who they need to get. Because what did Tampa do after losing to Columbus?
They got Goodrow and Coleman.
They got Barclay Goodrow. They got Blake Coleman. But even before that, they improved their defense. They brought in Kevin Shattenkirk.
McDonough. Yep.
Pat Maroon.
Pat Maroon was huge. Pat Maroon we never give him enough credit for this.
Because he's just a bottom six guy, and nobody wants to think like, oh, like you just obviously like it's not that he's not the difference between winning a cup and not. He's huge though. He's huge in the locker room. He's a guy who had just done it with St. Louis, and his impact was huge in the locker room. They changed kind of the way that they played, and they didn't look back, man.
How wild is it that if they keep going like this, that Pat Maroon could get 4 cups in a row?
That's unbelievable. Seriously, that's unbelievable. That's incredible. It cannot be understated how ridiculous that is.
4 cups in a row for one dude.
And well, also think about this, Jake. I mean, they went out. They got we mentioned Barclay Goodrow and Blake Coleman.
They got Corey Perry this year.
Because after
the guy that's been
guys,
against
what can we do this offseason? we're going to bring in Corey Perry, and then
beat him, join him.
At the deadline, we're going to get
Nick Paul.
We're going to get Nick Paul and Brandon Hagel.
Yep. So you got your Goodrow and Coleman replacements in those two, but then like the whole storyline with Corey Perry is really funny too, because like I've been saying, if you can't beat him, join him. He's having a blast.
Here's the other thing that I forgot to mention, because they just brought him back again this year, but they had him in 2020. At the deadline, they also went out and signed Zach Bogosian.
They did get Bogo.
And then Bogo came back this year too. And he's been a big impact too, because he's a big, body defenseman. And they didn't have him last year, obviously. So what did they do at the deadline? Because they needed a big body defensive-minded defenseman. They went out and they got David Savard.
Right. Oh, yeah, you're right.
So to me, sometimes you just got to look in your own backyard. Obviously it sucks being in the same state and division and having that rivalry with a team that's as great as the Tampa Bay Lightning. But at the same time, they're right fucking there. That is the model. They're similarly built. Is Ekblad as good as Hedman? I don't think so. But he's damn good.
He's he's very, very good.
Mackenzie Weegar, I think, is about as good as Ryan McDonough is.
I would say yes. He just doesn't
have a good series.
He obviously doesn't get the attention that McDonough does.
But he's as good, I think. And, they've got other, young defensemen.
Mikhail Sergachev.
Mikhail Sergachev and Eric Chernak. Well, look on the other side of Florida. I see Gustav Forsling and Brandon Montour.
Yeah.
Those are good guys. So similar build on defense. And then, Tampa's, flirting around with Stammer and Kucherov and
Braden Point.
But Florida, you got Huberdeau.
Huberdeau.
You've got Lundell's going to be a star.
Oh, he absolutely is. You have Verhaeghe.
You have Duclair.
Now that's a question mark. I don't know if they're going to bring Duke back.
Now we don't know, but in terms of like what they have at this present moment, they've got a lot of ammo.
Yeah.
So what do they need to do? Maybe the solution, as you mentioned, he might not be back next year. Maybe you trade Anthony Duclair, not because you don't like the player, but you might want to beef up a little bit and get yourself, maybe not, the same player, but get a Nick Paul like player,
Mhm.
get a Blake Coleman like player, get a Barclay Goodrow like player, beef up a little bit. Beef up on the bottom end of your defense. Bring back Radko. Honestly, I'm not a big Ben Sherratt guy. Bring him back because if you're playing that guy on the third pair
Mhm.
in sheltered minutes, him and Gudis are effective.
I mean, we talked about them being their bouncer pair, right?
Yeah, it's not like when people talk about like the analytics community and stuff like that. It's because they don't. A lot of times, the negative perception comes because you're not understanding what we're trying to say.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that Ben Sherratt's not a player who can play in the National Hockey League and like he sucks. It's he can't be your number one defenseman. He can't be your number two or even your number three. But if you're playing him,
you look at the way he plays and you find a role based off the numbers.
If you play him in a third pair role in sheltered minutes, he's incredibly effective at what he does. Because he can provide offense. He's physical, pain in the ass to play against. Not always the best defensively, not great at getting players to drive wide and taking down passing lanes, stuff like that. But still, he is effective. I would bring him back. That's what they need to do. They need to beef up and get those kinds of players. And so that's the one thing. And then two is Brunette needs to look at this series and look at what Tampa's doing. Look at John Cooper. I think he can figure it out. I have faith in Andrew Brunette as a coach. I don't blame him too much because he wasn't supposed to be in this situation.
He's going to learn a lot from these tapes.
He's going to learn a lot from this series. So I'm not out entirely on the Florida Panthers being a potential, front runner in the future for the Stanley Cup. But some things need to change. Some things need to improve. No doubt about it. And that's what I got out of this series. I got out of it. Tampa is still as phenomenal as we fucking thought, and Florida isn't there yet.
Right. Yeah. Tampa's quest for the three-peat continues. 10 straight series wins, and Pat Maroon is over here like, let's make it 12.
Wait a minute. I'm trying to think here. Who's the last team to beat Tampa in the playoffs?
I think we might know.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Jake, I want to put it in perspective for everybody how incredible this run is. Okay. When the Columbus Blue Jackets pulled off the upset of the millennium,
the unthinkable
against the Tampa Bay Lightning, not just beating them, sweeping them in a playoff series where you look at the regular season stats and there was a 30-point gap. Oh, let me tell you something, Jake. Everybody predicted a sweep.
Just not this sweep.
So, that's how unbelievable that was, Jake. That happened my freshman year.
I know.
I just graduated, and they haven't lost a playoff series since
you just graduated last weekend,
and they haven't lost a playoff series.
Congratulations, man! I want to give you your props on air for this because, dude, come on.
Appreciate it. Much love.
Much love, brother.
That's just, I was thinking about that. I was like, oh my fucking God. I was in my fucking freshman dorm watching that series, and they haven't lost a playoff series since it happened. They just graduated.
Oh my God.
It's absolute insanity. You got to tip your cap to the Tampa Bay Lightning organization and what they have been able to do. It's a world-class organization from top to bottom. And it started with Steve Yzerman kind of bringing in his plan and molding it and getting some players and whatnot. And then Julian Breezeball coming in.
It was just like, here we go.
Yep.
Another series and another big battle that we talked about last episode that didn't really go as planned. The Battle of Alberta kind of fizzled.
Yeah. extinguished very quickly. Usually when you put oil on flames, it doesn't diminish. Usually it just grows. But that wasn't the case here.
Edmonton wins in 5. Dude, I was keeping track of game 5 last night or the other night. The way that game went down.
Dude, it was ridiculous.
Holy cow.
I have a question for you.
What was it? It was 4 goals in a minute 11.
Yeah.
Which was the fastest since I can't remember when, but it beat out the previous mark was 1 minute 33 seconds.
Yeah. It beat it out like by a lot.
I was like, whoa.
So I have a question for you. And if anybody is listening and wants to put a comment in the comments,
please interact. We need some interactions.
I genuinely want to know. 29 points in those 5 games combined for McDavid and Draisaitl. McDraisaitl.
McDry.
McDry. Were you more impressed by that duo or more disappointed in Jacob Markstrom?
I think I would say I was just more disappointed in the Flames as a whole. Because you were expecting big things from Tkachuk and Gaudreau and Lindholm. They did not show up. You're expecting some of the depth to show up later in the series. Like, you need that.
Yeah.
And it was just crickets. Blake Coleman wasn't Blake Coleman. Blake Coleman was not Tampa Blake Coleman. Dylan Dubé didn't show up. Mangiapane was really quiet.
The best player in the series for Calgary, in my opinion, was Michael Backlund. And don't get me wrong, like, it's always
Michael Backlund's a good player, but like,
yeah, when you get contributions from someone like that, that's nice. But like, he can't be your best player. Like,
no,
you can't try to match up against a team like the Oilers when they're trotting out McDavid and Draisaitl and Evander Kane, and you're just like, we got Michael Backlund. Like,
right.
You just can't. It doesn't work like that. But so I agree with you in the sense that outside of game 1, when they scored 9 fucking goals, they were incredibly disappointing. The Stars, from Gaudreau to Lindholm to Tkachuk, even to like some of the smaller guys, like you mentioned, like Dubé. Mangiapane, I would say, is a bigger player, but he wasn't as great as I hoped he'd be. And even on the back end defensively, like
Hannafin didn't do much either.
You don't expect offense from Chris Hanna, so I thought he was fine. But yeah, they were disappointing in a lot of ways. But and like the way that they were playing, the top end guys, they were never going to win the series, no matter how well Markstrom played. But it was stunning how bad he played.
Yeah. And that's not to say that Mike Smith was, George Vezina either. Right?
Yeah, no, because he had the hilarious goal that he allowed. Genuinely one of the funniest goals. I can't. Here's the thing, Jake. That I knew Calgary was losing the series. How in the world are you down 3-0? You score 2 goals. You're close. And that's the game-tying goal. And you don't win? No, you're done. You're absolutely done.
Let me get this straight. Are you talking about the Coleman goal?
No.
No?
No. In game 4, the fucking was it Rasmus Anderson?
Maybe.
The hilarious goal from his own defensive zone. Where he slapped it down like 150 feet on Mike Smith and it just went in. That's how you short-handed. That's how you tie the game and you don't win? Brother, you can't lose that game. Not a chance can you lose that game. Did you see the goal?
No.
Oh no, I gotta show you.
Oh no.
Oh.
While you're doing that, let's talk Evander for a second.
He was excellent.
Because
officially, Rasmus Anderson's goal was 132 feet away.
wow. Like we talked about with with Tony D, right?
Mm-hmm.
All of his off ice stuff has kind of gone by the wayside, which isn't to say that it shouldn't be held up and we shouldn't be holding him accountable for that. I think what happened was when Ken Holland was, talking with him and talking with his agent, they just wanted to focus on the hockey side of it, right?
Yeah.
And Evander was like, okay, I'm gonna just focus on my job and do my job, right?
Yeah.
And he's been doing his job very, very well. Oh no. Oh. Hold on, let me replay this because oh no. Oh no. No.
Jake,
in the air.
they were down 3-0 in that game, scored 2 goals and shorthanded. That was the game-tying goal for Calgary. How in the world do you lose that game?
You know what this reminds me of? And I hate saying this.
What?
That is shades of Vesa Toskala.
Yeah. It's shades of Dan Cloutier against Nick Lidstrom.
Ooh.
Like, oh my Lord. I didn't know it was possible to lose a game after doing something like that. In almost every scenario that 99 times out of 100, you were going to win that game. That just has to the fuck out of you that you're up 3-0. Okay, we give up a couple goals, whatever. We just need to hold this down. That's how. Honestly, I give a lot of blames to the Flames. I give a hell of a lot of credit to the Oilers. How are you up 3-0? That's the game time goal. You just blew that lead, and you still win that game in regulation.
You got to remember too. Okay, in terms of like the Toskala one, the Leafs also won that, and that was the only goal he gave up that night.
Funny. He could have had a shutout, but no, he had to give up a fucking goal at like 200 feet down the ice.
197 feet. It was the only goal he gave up that night, and he won.
Goalies are so fucking weird, man.
You would know.
Yeah. Don't call me out like this, brother.
You know I love you, man.
But Jake, how the fuck?
Dude, everybody wanted this to go fucking 7.
Oh my god, we predicted it 7. I didn't care. It won 5 games. Oh, what a disappointment, man. Oh, that sucked because game 1 was so wild, and I was like, oh, this is gonna be legendary, and then it just wasn't. It just wasn't. And let me tell you, Jake, this brings up an interesting conversation about the Flames. We just did that whole conversation about the Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
How many years have the Flames underachieved? And this was supposed to be the year that, oh my God, they didn't underachieve and they were really good. And they traded for Toffoli at the deadline. And they signed Coleman in the offseason.
Sutter brought his magic back.
Yeah, they brought back Daryl Sutter, who's, he's done this so many times. He's a good coach and he brings out the best in every team. And
specifically with the Flames and Kings for whatever reason.
And, I don't want to take anything away from Dallas because Jake Onger's unbelievable.
Yeah.
A lot of credit for what he did. But there's no reason that going into that series, you should have expected them to go 7 against the Dallas Stars.
Right.
And they did. Not only did they go to game 7, they had to go to overtime in game 7.
Yep. And Jake, his 954.
But you got to go 7 plus overtime in game 7 against Dallas. And then you're out in 5 to your arch fucking rival.
Your your provincial rival.
That is just unacceptable on every level from the Calgary Flames. And now it brings up an interesting discussion because it's not like you got a core that you're locked into and maybe we make tweaks here.
No.
Kachuk needs a contract. Gaudreau needs a contract.
Gaudreau could walk.
He very well could. He could sign for a fuck ton of money with the Flyers or the Devils or anywhere he wants. And Jake, he could stay. He could stay.
Just makes me laugh how much
your deal.
Just makes me laugh how much you always bring up like those two kinds of teams, like the Devils and the Flyers.
Well, for me, he's from that area.
Okay,
he's been kind of linked to them for a little bit because those are two teams that are going to have a pretty decent amount of cap space. But from that kind of area,
okay, I didn't realize it was a hometown kind of thing.
The place that makes most sense to me, in my opinion, for him is the LA Kings. If he's not going to stay in Calgary, I would go to LA if I were him. But Jake, if you're going to keep Gaudreau, if he's going to actually stay in Calgary, you're going to have to pay him a lot of money. You're going to have to give him a lot of term.
Yeah.
Probably 8 years.
Probably max term, yes.
And he has incredible abilities. He's incredibly responsible defensively.
One of the best wingers we've seen in a long time.
Good in transition. He's a good playmaker. He's a good goal scorer. But he can get very cold.
But you also the biggest thing is I think they really need to build around Matthew.
In a perfect world, and when I say a perfect world, I mean if you're running the Calgary Flames in Chell.
Yeah, if money's not an option.
You would extend Kachuk first. And if I'm going to keep a high-end winger, if I'm going to have a top-end, high-end winger, I would rather have Philip Forsberg than I would Johnny Gaudreau. Now, obviously, that's not going to happen. We know that that's not going to happen. But
that brings up a good point, though, because I keep forgetting that Forsberg's up too. Dude, how we've talked. I mentioned this in a previous show. How many huge names are on the market this year?
Yeah, let me tell you, it's kind of a weak goalie market, but as far as players are concerned,
as far as skaters go, dude,
God. As of right now, it's not to say that they're going to hit the market, but as of right now, Bergeron doesn't have a contract next year. Evgeny Malkin doesn't. Chris Letang doesn't. And that's on top of Philip Forsberg and Johnny Gaudreau.
And Nazem Kadri.
Oh, my God.
The skater market
Holy
is just...
fuck.
What?
Oh, it's insane. Nick Paul is going to get a good deal.
Yeah, he is.
He's going to be a good addition for a team in the offseason. And, there's other players I'm sure we're missing.
Oh, yeah, but just, dude, you don't even need to name this whole skater market. It's just you list those top 5. And what? How are all these guys just
free agents
out there
going to be bonkers?
It's going to be insane.
Well, I just want to see the top. Yeah. Oh, Giroux.
Claude Giroux. Yeah.
Bill Kessel. Alex Radulov.
Oh my God.
Ooh, Louis
Jay Beagle.
Andre Palat.
Oh.
Nino Niederreiter. Riley Smith.
Couple interesting guys.
That's interesting, isn't it?
This is gonna be 2016 all over again.
Players are going to get so much money, man. So much money.
So much money that the league just doesn't have.
For real.
God.
Simply just increase the salary cap. What are we doing?
I swear.
You have many problems. Simply just print more money.
thanks, Rudy Gobert, for everything. God.
It's not his fault, but it's nice to be able
No.
to put a face
To
to it.
pin
Like,
it on,
fuck
yeah.
you. Fuck you for making sports close down 2 days earlier than they were supposed to.
Man. But yeah, Battle of Alberta, just like we really wanted that to go 7. Everybody did. And but you know what this sets up?
Oh, baby.
This Western Conference Final.
It gives us the matchup of the century. Are you kidding me? 2 high-end players in the prime of their careers. Jack Johnson versus Cody Cece. Let's go. Oh, Chris Russell and Duncan Keith. Let's go.
Let's talk about Abs and Blues for a second, like really brief.
Yeah, this is a series that I predicted the upset. Didn't get it right. The Blues lost on a buzzer beater.
The Blues,
Darren Helm. What year is it?
A helm of a shot it was.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
No, it was funny because I was talking to my brother last night, and he barely watches any hockey because he's just a paintball kid through and through, right?
Yeah.
He texted me. He was like, "Dude, are you watching Blues as right now?"
Yeah.
I was like, "I'm keeping track of it, but I'm not like watching it." He was like, "Dude, you need to watch this game winner. I don't know who it was, but you need to watch this game winner. 5 seconds remaining. It was wild." And I watched the highlight as soon as Sportsnet posted it on YouTube.
Yeah.
The pass from Logan O'Connor, I kind of like that a little bit better than the shot from Darren Helm, if I'm being honest.
Oh, hell yeah. No, because I was out last night with my cousin Ryan. He wanted to buy me some drinks for graduation, and we were at a bar, and I'm just looking up. He's getting me my drink. I'm sitting, and I just look up. Right as I looked, I'm not exaggerating when I say right as I looked up, he was shooting the puck. Like, I just see, like, and it goes in. I'm like, what?
Darren Helm.
And I was like, oh. And like, it was like a bar, like, it wasn't like a sports bar. It was a bar scene. And I'm the only lunatic in there losing their mind. Everybody's socializing, drinking, catching up with friends and whatnot, you know, having a good time. And I'm the only lunatic losing their mind, like, what? At the fact that not only did they just score 5 seconds left to fucking win the series, Darren Helm being the one to do it was not on my bingo card. I'm not going to lie to you.
It's funny though, because I saw a tweet last night after I was, after it all went down.
Yeah.
To the day, like exactly to the day,
No.
2009.
No.
When he scored another series winner.
Wow. That's fucking sick. Holy shit, 13 years ago. Damn.
To the day, Jay.
That's crazy. Wow. That's nuts.
How amazing is that?
Damn. I did not know that.
Oh man.
I saw this on Twitter. I thought this was interesting. Avs 2009 draft class. Did you see this?
I did see this.
3. So first round, they played their first round pick, which was Matt Duchene.
Yep.
Second round, they played their second round pick from that year, Ryan O'Reilly.
Yep.
Third round, they're playing their third round pick from that year,
And Tyson Berry.
But and I was like, wow, that's like really cool. But at the same time, like after I thought about it for a second, I'm like, oh my God, what a fucking draft that is.
Right.
Like, don't get me wrong, Tyson Berry is a flawed player, but like for a third round pick, provide offensively, and then you got Duchene and Ryan O'Reilly in the first 2 rounds, and it's crazy because Duchene's a good fucking player. They got him third overall.
He got to revive his career a little bit.
And they got him in the second.
Yeah.
Damn, that is a hell of a draft. And guess what? They're now in the conference final, and they don't have any of those guys.
Nope.
They don't have Duchene. They don't have O'Reilly. They don't have Tyson Berry. And you know what? I think they're okay with it because Tyson Berry turned into Nazem Kadri.
Mm-hmm. Which, let's address this before we get into previewing the Western Final, because we still don't know who Tampa's going to play in the Eastern Final. Obviously,
yeah,
we'll maybe find out by either tonight or by the end of Monday.
Yeah,
but
either way, for Tuesday's show, we'll know.
Yeah. Hold on, I'm sending a text recording. So I don't want to throw all Blues fans under the bus, because this isn't all Blues fans.
And this goes for every fan base.
This goes for everybody.
Every fan base has a lot of really great fans, and
every sport
also has a lot of shithead fans.
Yep, every sport has all these pockets of fans.
Mm-hmm.
Death threats and racial death threats towards Nazem Kadri on Twitter
and on Instagram.
Indirect messages.
It's
near doxing.
Yeah, because it wasn't just Naz that they sent it to. They sent it to his fucking wife too.
Near doxing, because his wife got shit. They had to send police to his hotel rooms, man.
Yeah. It's sad. It is a constant reminder. We talk about this all the time on the show. It's a constant reminder of where we're at and just exactly how fucking far we have to go in the sport. And now understand that this happens in other sports too.
Mm-hmm.
It's unacceptable because it happens seemingly far more often in this sport than any other sport.
When's the last time we talked about a racial thing? It was the Subban thing, the Jordan Subban thing, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Like specifically a racial thing. I'm pretty sure it might have been the Jordan Subban thing.
It may have been Jordan Subban. It may have been Boko. I'm not sure. But the last last month or two has been decent in terms of we haven't had much of that.
Pretty clean. Yeah. But this is really, really just, this makes me hate people.
It does. Same here. Let me tell you, Jake.
And I'm the kind of person that if you are cool with me, I don't care what you look like, who you're with, how your relationships are.
Yeah, I don't give a shit about any of that stuff.
I don't care. If you are cool with me, I will be cool with you.
Mm-hmm.
It does not matter to me.
I picked St. Louis to get to the final.
Mm-hmm.
I picked them in this series.
I picked Colorado.
And I was rooting very hard for St. Louis until this happened.
Yes.
And at that point, I was like, nah, fuck you guys. I hope you lose.
Yeah.
I have no remorse saying that. I am super fucking happy that St. Louis got eliminated, because this shit is fucking unacceptable.
Nas scoring a game winner.
Hattie?
A hat trick in game 5.
God.
When all of this was just fresh.
Just fresh.
It was like what, the next day was game 5?
Mm-hmm. Well, it was game 4 that happened.
Oh, it was game 4.
But because game 5, all the fans in Colorado, there was like a whole section on the Colorado side, like before the game, like in pregame warmups,
with all the signs.
The whole section was filled with signs of "We stand with Naz," "We love you, Naz," all that stuff. That was fucking great.
That was phenomenal.
Because I said like every fan base has their shithead fans and whatnot, and that is true.
Yes.
But generally speaking, from what I see on Twitter and the people I've interacted with, the Colorado Avalanche have, bar none, one of the best fan bases in the National Hockey League.
Oh, yeah.
Incredibly tolerant, very progressive thinking, very accepting for the most part. You don't hear a lot of bad things from them. Great people.
Because we know that both of Naz's parents were immigrants.
Yeah.
And they come to Toronto, and Nas grows up and gets drafted by Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's funny though, because wasn't his dad like a Habs fan or something?
I don't know about that.
I can't remember, but it's just funny to me.
Yeah.
And he's living his dream.
Yeah.
And then he goes to Colorado, and he has all of his temper issues in the playoffs. He has the bad hit when he's playing St. Louis the last time.
Mm-hmm.
This year, he's been absolutely clean, phenomenal, amazing. Gonna cash in, like we said.
And just to talk about the play that started it all in general, I remember being pretty pissed because, like I said, I was rooting for St. Louis. And Binnington was playing so well, and he got taken out, and I was like, "Fuck."
Yeah, Binnington is another angle of this, right?
He is another angle of this
because
it was prompted when he threw a water bottle at him. Now, granted, and here's what I'll say: Binnington's got a history, a little bit of a history,
a deleted history,
very deleted history. I don't think him throwing a water bottle and Nazem Kadri was racially motivated. I think that's him and his frustration with the fact that he got hit and taken out of the series and got hurt. That's my genuine feeling. However, at the same time, I know it's just a water bottle. Don't fucking do that, you fucking idiot. And also, if you're a Blues fan, don't fucking send fucking death threats and racist shit. Just don't be a piece of shit. And after that, I was pissed about it. I wasn't like, super pissed at Kadri. I was just pissed that Binnington was out. I watched the replay. Jake, Callie Rosen bumps him into him.
Yeah, it was Callie's fault.
Driving the net. He's angled. He's driving the net, and he's going to where the puck would reasonably go on a rebound.
Mm-hmm.
And Rosen changes his trajectory just a little bit with a little bit of a bump, and that causes him to barrel into Binnington at the angle that he did.
Right.
If Rosen doesn't make any contact, the only contact that Kadri probably makes with Binnington would have been on his left leg. And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't have been significant at all. So it wasn't even Kadri's fault. You got people who are total shitheads, like, Binnington does the dumbass water bottle thing. And then you get people who are fucking racist who send that shit. But the beauty of it all, Jake, is Nazem Kadri got a fucking hat trick, game winner, game 4, and the Avs are moving on. Good for him. I'm rooting for you the rest of the way.
Absolutely rooting for Naz.
And I'm also rooting for the ungodly amount of money you're going to make this offseason, pal. Enjoy that. That's going to be fucking awesome.
I can't wait to see where he goes, even if he stays in Colorado.
Yeah, because if he stays in Colorado, it's going to be at a discount, but even at a discount, like for what he could make, he's still going to make a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
Like a discount for Naz would probably be 8.5.
Right. But that sets up a huge Western final.
Yes. The matchup of the century. We've been waiting to see this.
Mick versus Mac.
Yeah, that's cool too.
And I know you love your under.
Oh my God, there is a team. You know what it is for me? Mac versus Mick is going to be great.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even just those two. I mean, you also got Rantanen and Landeskog and Draisaitl and Evander Kane. When we're just talking about on the ice. But Jake, Nathan McKinnon,
yes,
and Mikko Rantanen, Gabe Landeskog,
the Rocky Mountain line,
are going to play most of their minutes. They're obviously going to try to, have Darnell Nurse on the ice as much as they can against those guys.
Yeah.
But that's not possible to have them on the ice for every shift.
Right.
And there's going to be times where those guys are going to be up against Cody Ceci
And Duncan Keith. Yep.
Or Tyson Barrie and Chris Russell. Oh no. That is not a good sign.
Those guys are gonna get. It's funny though, because you think
get eaten alive, baby.
Okay.
Alive.
Listen. It's funny though, because I want to say that at least a little piece of me, with you saying Tyson Barrie up against those guys, right?
Tyson Barrie Revenge Series.
He's gonna know what to do.
He's going to know what to do. It's just that he can't do it because he sucks defensively.
He's gonna know how they click. So it's like, that's a little bit of an insider advantage. Maybe not enough, obviously not enough to have one former player.
Yeah.
Right? But
it is amazing that Tyson Barrie versus Nazem Kadri. These two guys got traded for against each other. The loser in that trade
is Toronto.
Oh my God, they got their ass eaten alive in that trade.
Oh, poor Toronto.
Dubas, man.
Poor Kyle.
That was rough. That was a rough one for you, Doug. Not gonna lie.
God.
But
dude, Nathan McKinnon is a top 3 player in this league, if not 5.
I think you got the 3 best players in the National Hockey League playing in this series.
McDavid, Draisaitl.
You got Connor McDavid. You got Nathan McKinnon. And you got
Leon Draisaitl, please. Let's
and you got red hot Mike Smith.
Red hot goalie.
God, that's the best thing, is because here's the thing, Jake. I have no clue what to do for this series. Because everything on paper should make you say, oh my God, Colorado's so much better than
Colorado is just the definition of depth that can get.
Yeah, because it's the Oilers, it's McDavid, it's Draisaitl, it's Kane, it's Nugent Hopkins, and then Jesse Puljujarvi and Kyler Yamamoto are big, but that's kind of about it.
That's kind of it on the forward side, yeah.
Meanwhile, in Colorado, you
have Darren Helm scoring a series winner.
Oh my God. Colorado's
fourth line is amazing. The guys you can rotate in and out. Logan O'Connor, Darren Helm, JT Compher was a banshee. Newhook, yeah.
Compher was really good in that St. Louis series as well. And yeah, my God, you got fucking Naz, who's not even on the top line.
He's even on the second line center.
Oh my God. That Val Nichushkin.
Nichushkin's been very underrated. You have Andre Burakovsky. Their defensive acquisitions in Manson and Sturm haven't really shown up as much, but do they really?
Well, they don't show up offensively. They're good defensively, and they play those roles perfectly. Because you got Taves and Makar.
Those are all you really need.
Josh Manson, I think, has been excellent defensively. He's done his role. Mm-hmm. Eric Johnson's been really good these playoffs.
EJ's been amazing. JJ.
And Byram.
He
has stepped up in the absence of Sam Girard.
Losing Girard really, really was just a big blow. But to see Bo flourishing finally, after his concussions, this is such a good story.
Yeah, he's gonna be so fucking good, and that's just another player that Colorado's gonna have.
As long as he stays healthy, man. The concussion thing. Seriously, the concussion thing is a thing.
Oh, 100%. You get one, it's easy to get another one, and it can happen over and over and over again. And one guy who would know about how injuries can affect your career, he's still solid, who's on that team now, who has to step up, Ryan Murray.
Our boy, our
Ryan Murray.
second overall pick boy. Man,
Another interesting storyline from this series. Oilers had the number 1 pick in 2012.
mm-hmm.
And they didn't pick Ryan Murray.
Yeah.
Now, granted, I'm not sure how much that changes their future, but like,
right.
They picked Nail Yakupov, who was also an Av at one point.
I mean, they still have their first round pick from 2011, who's their longest tenured guy.
Yeah, that's another interesting thing. First and second against each other. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins versus Gabe Landeskog.
Oh yeah,
I didn't even think about that. Yeah, so that's another fun and interesting element to this, is that you got, the two guys from 2011.
You have Smith and Kemper in net.
Uh-huh.
This is going to be a really fun Western final. And dude, Jay, all I got to say to wrap the playoff stuff up, because I mean, we've been talking about this for the entire show, and I want to breeze through just a few topics to end this. We could probably spend maybe 10 minutes to finish or whatever. The fact that we will get to see either of Nathan McKinnon or Connor McDavid.
We're blessed.
Going to the Stanley Cup final.
We're truly blessed, aren't we? If you here's the thing: if as a hockey fan, we obviously make our brackets and stuff like that. If you make a bracket to choose which teams advance, and like you do this with I say for all the fans whose teams didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah,
because obviously most everybody's I'm a Rangers fan. If you're a hockey fan of a team that's not in the playoffs, if you can create a bracket for this is what I want to see happen. Would it not be Nathan McKinnon versus Connor McDavid in the third fucking round of the playoffs? That I know that's what I would have wanted. And honestly, if Carolina advances, Carolina versus Tampa is a series that
is a hell of an Eastern Conference final.
It's a series I had on the Eastern Conference side of my bracket, so I would have gotten that correctly. But that's a series I would have wanted to have seen anyway. I would have loved to see this rematch. And with how good Carolina is this year and the improvements they've made, I like that idea.
Yeah.
If this ends up being Tampa, Carolina, Edmonton, Colorado for the Final Four, oh my God, that's amazing.
We are in for some amazing, beautiful hockey to watch.
These will be the best playoffs we have seen in quite some time.
They kind of already have been.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. They have been so far, and the fact that we're going to get one of these guys in the Stanley Cup final, one of these duos. Oh my God!
Amazing.
Fuck yeah!
Just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
How lucky are we?
We're blessed.
Beyond belief.
We're blessed. So Columbus made a couple of moves. They're bringing Korpi back for a year.
They are.
He's only making 1.3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever, I guess. Sure.
I can understand,
Jay, you know how I feel.
I brought up to you sign and trade, but you also said to who?
They're not going to do a sign and trade because there's no point in what team is going to trade any assets in a sign and trade for a goalie on a 1-year deal who has a .902 save percentage in his entire career? Maybe you could get an 8th round draft pick.
An 8th. You could get the next Pecorine.
Well, fuck, I would take that.
You gotta, dude, he was an 8th round pick.
Yeah.
That was still a thing.
Yeah. Halak with 9th round pick.
Yeah.
9th rounders were funny.
That's crazy. But yeah, Korpi's coming back, so I'm assuming it's going to be Elvis and Korpi. It's all right.
It is. I'll say this. I understand that they feel like this is a move in which you are ensuring that Tarasov is getting his reps in the AHL.
Yeah.
And that there's no pressure on him to battle for a backup spot or anything like that. And for that reason, I'm fine with it because it's only $1.3 million.
Corpy does need a bit of redemption.
You're ensuring that Tarasov's going to get his development in the A. At the same time, I cannot, for the life of me, get over how many Jackets fans defend this guy.
Listen, I'm not a blind Joonas defender.
Yeah.
I'm not a blind Corpy guy. But he needs a little bit of redemption. This guy
does need redemption. I just don't think it needs to be on this team. And look, they did it. It is what it is. I accept it. And like I said, I hate it when people think I'm hating on the guy. Guys, my life would be a hell of a lot better if he was a good goalie. Like, and I don't want to say like, oh, this guy sucks and whatever. No, our lives are a lot better if these two guys are both unbelievable for the team.
If they're both Dominic Hasek, yeah.
I'm rooting for Korpisalo to do well because it behooves my hockey team for him to do well.
Right.
So don't think I'm hating on the guy. I'm just being honest. The numbers don't lie. He has played in well over 150 games in the National Hockey League and has a save percentage of .902 and a goals against average well above 3. Those are just facts. And I know, and I get people in my mentions coming back like, well, Elvis wasn't that great this year. He wasn't.
No.
This conversation has nothing to do with Elvis.
No.
Nothing. This isn't an Elvis versus Joonas. This is just Joonas, his extension, and how I feel about it. Joonas, I've said on multiple occasions, lanky goalie, long legs, moves well from left to right, athletic. There's a lot to like about him. He just hasn't put all the tools together.
Right.
Outside of a couple seasons, because I'm telling you right now, everybody coming at me like, man, Elvis wasn't that great this year, etc. Elvis had a .907 save percentage this year, Jake.
On a bad defensive team.
7 seasons with the Blue Jackets. Joonas Korpisalo has been with the Blue Jackets, okay? How many seasons of those 7s do you think Joonas Korpisalo had a save percentage above .907?
Like 2.
2! You are correct. 2 out of 7 seasons he had a save percentage for the season above .907, which so many people are telling me isn't good enough from Elvis. So that's not good. Why aren't you holding him accountable?
Listen, those seasons, if I'm not mistaken, were right after Bob left, and
it was his rookie year. So he had a .920 his rookie year when Bob got hurt, and Torts had come in. Ty Richards got fired. Torts was brought in. They weren't a great team. Obviously, they were going to miss the playoffs and everything like that because they started 7. Bob gets hurt, and he was a nice, bright light. Like, this is a nice guy for the future. And 920 save percentage behind a good defensive team because they traded Johansson to get Seth Jones. They improved that. Zach Werenski was eventually going to come along. But then he was backup because they gave up on, Curtis McElhinney after the loss to the Rangers when they could have made it 17 in a row. And my God, Jake, in several years, he had a sub 900 save percentage as a backup. And, Bob leaves. He has a 911 save percentage as the starting goalie before he got hurt around the All-Star break. Obviously, he was great in the bubble. But so many seasons, he had a sub 900 save percentage on teams Columbus had that were among the best in the league defensively. I don't want to hear how bad this team is defensively. I know they're bad defensively. We're okay with that because they're improving offensively. That's the sacrifice that they have made in this retool. I can accept that. But you can't come at me and say that Elvis has not been that good on one of the worst defensive teams in the league when he had a 907 save percentage. And while behind some of the best defenses in the league, Corpy struggled to do that the majority of his career and has been unwatchable the last 2 seasons.
Right.
There's no doubt about that. I hope he gets his redemption, because if he does, if he's good for us, that's a good thing. It'll help us win.
Yeah.
I just don't have high expectations at all for it. I don't have any expectations for it.
Well, we didn't have expectations going into this season as a whole.
Yeah.
Or in the last season as a whole. And we got proven wrong. So hopefully we get proven wrong again, right?
Like I said, I'll say it again for anybody who's listening. I hope he proves me wrong. Do you know how great it would be if this dude, if they split time next year and Elvis regained form, the team was better defensively, but Joonas as the 1B guy plays like 35, 40 games and posts like a 925? That would be fucking great. I want that to happen.
Jay, for me, even if he puts up like a 915.
Yeah, exactly. But the problem is I've not seen anything since his rookie season that makes me think he's going to do it.
If he puts up at least 910, I'll be fine.
Jake, I'm at a point. If he puts up a 907, I will be jumping.
But yeah, I would
Elvis for a 907. That's your goal. That's how low the bar is, Corpy. Get a 908 save percentage or better next year. There you go.
But yeah, all the best to Corp, for sure. Hope he has a really good year for us next year. And what's even better is he signed that not long after we got announced for the Global Series, so he gets to play at home.
That's good. That's good.
He gets to play at home.
I know he likes Columbus, which is nice. I'm glad that he likes Columbus.
I mean, it's still awesome to have players that love it here.
Yeah.
Finally.
And the other reason I'll say I am okay with it, outside of just ensuring that you're giving more time for Tarasov, is you now don't have to really look hard for a backup in a goalie market that's very depleted,
right?
And you're at least I know he's been bad the last 2 seasons, but you're at least bringing back someone who knows this team.
Yes, someone who knows the system.
So it won't be hard for him to get acclimated. He just has to get healthy.
Mm-hmm.
And then go from there.
Right. Really quick, I want to bring back underrated players very quickly and just name a couple and why, right? Because we've had that. I've told you I have that list of 10, right?
Yeah, I don't have a list at all. I am just picking them randomly, but I have a player in mind.
Mine's Darcy. Mine's Darcy Kemper. He put himself on the map this year, and yet he still didn't really get a whole lot of recognition, even in Colorado.
Yeah.
He put up so many good numbers this year. It was just, and I mean, Colorado doesn't have the most stout defensive system either.
Yeah, because they're offensively minded, and Cale Makar is great, and Devon Taves is great.
Yeah,
but Sam Girard actually had a rough regular season. Eric Johnson is an epitome. Some years he's great defensively. Some years
we know what EJ is.
Yeah, he's kind of all over the place, but so for me, and they did get Josh Manson until the deadline, so
right, they didn't get Nico Sturm till the deadline.
Exactly. So I think that Darcy Kemper's done a good job. For his sake, I hope he actually stays in Colorado. I think that's a good fit for him.
It's a great him and Jared Bednar are amazing together. And then, if they bring back Francouz, that's a really great tandem too.
Well, Francouz has another year in his contract, doesn't he?
I don't know.
He might not. I don't know. I'll have to check. I know he signed a 2-year extension worth $2 million. I just can't remember if he did that last offseason or the offseason before.
Right.
That.
So yeah, I've just loved Darcy's game this year, despite times where, he was constantly losing his skate blades. That was the weird thing, right? That was one of the weirder things with Darcy this year. It was just how many times his blades popped off.
Didn't that happen twice in one fucking game?
It happened 3 times in a game. It happened
twice in a period.
It happened 5 times within a 2 or 3 game span.
It's dude, you may need some new fucking skates, dog.
And that was back when they had Jonas Johansson backing him up.
Excuse me, like
Because Francouz was out.
look. Let me tell you, if you think I'm an anti-Corpy guy, Joonas Johansson.
Okay, go.
81 games played, 12 goals, 31 assists, 43 points, plus 10, point share of 7.0. Right-hand shot defenseman, only 21 years old. According to JFresh, a projected WAR percentage of 67%. Even strength offense at 98%. Defense at 3%. But power play percent at 82%. PK 75. Finishing 88. Goals per 60, 92. Primary assist per 60, 91, 66 on penalties, 46 against competition, 97 teammates. Who do you think I'm talking about?
Did you mention the team?
Edmonton Oilers.
Chris Russell.
I said 21 years old.
Oh, 21. Bouchard.
Evan Bouchard. What a year he's had. He is a hell of a player. Going to be very, very good.
Yeah, that's another one to talk about for the Western Final, right? Like, think about Bouchard and like how he's going to do.
Yeah, and let me tell you, he was excellent in the Calgary series. He might have been their best defenseman in that series.
Whoa.
So yeah, there's my underrated player. I don't feel, he's young, so maybe that's definitely part of it.
Yeah,
in a league that's got so many great young
talent, yeah,
offensive defensemen. We talk about Cale Makar and Adam Fox and all
Sergachev. Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't talked enough about Evan Bouchard as of right now. I think he's underrated. So I want to give him his props. I love what I see from the kid.
I'm glad you mentioned a defenseman because I want to name off the Norris finalists too.
Yeah, let's do it.
We got Victor Hedman because, of course, he's a perennial Norris
Victor
guy.
Hedman being being a finalist for the Norris is the equivalent of Patrice Bergeron being
the Selkie Dogs. Or like Connor Hellebuck Vasi in the Vezina.
Vasi every year.
Our guy that we want to see win it, Roman Josi.
Yeah.
Josi for Norris. You bumped me on that train pretty convincingly.
Yeah.
And then Cale.
Yeah.
3 extremely strong picks.
2 of these guys are in the 3rd round. Cale Makar.
They are.
We might see these 2 guys in the Stanley Cup final.
And the other one got swept by one of them in the 1st.
Yeah. Well,
poor Roman. Man.
Did he play in that series or was he hurt? I can't remember.
Josi, I'm pretty sure he played.
All I remember is there was someone significant who was hurt in that series.
That was UC. That was Saros.
I know it was UC, but I thought there was another player too.
I don't know because I want to say Josi played.
Maybe he did. I just have shit memory.
Yeah, Hedman, Josi, and Makar are the 3 Norris finalists. And we talk about the Norris, we talk about the Norris a lot for good reason because it fluctuates from year to year. Mm-hmm. One year it's offensive defenseman, the other it's 2-way defenseman.
All around. And I felt like last year they finally went with all-round defenseman because Adam Fox is obviously excellent, offensively, but in total impact on the game, he was the best defenseman in the National Hockey League last year. This year, I feel like it's going to go in the offensive direction, and that's why I think it's going to go to Roman Josi. His defense did drop off this year a little bit. His play driving wasn't quite as great as it's been, even with how many points he put up. But
I was going to think if it was 2-way, it would go more to Josi just based off of the numbers that you presented to me previously.
So his defense dropped this year significantly.
A lot of players' defense dropped those, so I'm not surprised.
The last 3 years, 2 years ago, his even strength defense was at 83%. Last year, 60. This year at 24. But His offense was at 97%. So
if it goes purely offense, I think it's probably Cale's.
I don't know. I think purely offense, it would go to Roman Josi.
I don't know. We'll see.
If it's all around, I think it would go to Cale.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Either way, I'm not going to be upset at
3 extremely strong finalists, man.
Yeah, for real.
Like I would be happy to see any of these guys win it.
I'm rooting most for Josi simply because it could be his last kick at that. He's still going to be a top defenseman, but it's such a hard trophy to win. Like Hedman's there every year. Cale Makar is going to be there most years. Adam Fox is going to be there most years. So like if Yosi's going to snag, Norris, it's
got to be this year. It's like Fleury and the Vezina, right?
Exactly.
Which isn't to say that this should be like just give it to Josi because of, you know what I mean?
I'm not promoting that they should just give it to him, but I'm promoting that they should just give it to him.
Columbus made a defensive signing for fun.
Yeah, and I don't know anything about him. So
I don't know anything about this guy either. Marcus Bjork. Can you look him up real quick?
Well, here's what I want to do. Yarmo, we need another defensive forward, I think. Mm-hmm. So you should honestly go out and trade for a guy like Anders Bjork. And then we could start a law firm called Bjork, and Bjork. And it's just Anders Bjork, Albert Bjorkstrand, and this dude.
Just call it Swedish Chefs at Law.
Swedish meatballs. I think, are they all from different places? Because obviously,
oh God, I don't know.
Bjorkstrand's Danish.
Yeah.
Anders Bjork, I want to say is a Swede.
Hold on, let me see this. Let me double check this. Anders Bjork. Anders Bjork is an American guy. Okay, wow. And then Marcus Bjork is Swedish.
So we got 3 guys. We got 3
all from different countries. He's my age, dude. He is 2 weeks younger than me.
God, doesn't that make you want to die?
That makes me want to die a little bit inside. Oh my goodness. Okay. So they signed him to an NHL deal. He was playing in Cleveland. He was on an AHL deal.
I missed that entirely.
I guess I did too. He played, let's see. Oh no, wait, he signed to play in Cleveland for next year. So just a depth signing. Okay. The last few years, he played in Brynäs in the SHL. In 1920, he played for Malmö. So in 1920, he plays for Malmö, 36 games, 4 goals, 8 assists, 12 points. He gets traded over to Brynäs, 13 games there, 2 goals, 6 assists, 8 points. 2021, he plays 51 games, 3 goals, 13 assists, 16 points. And then in 21-22, 52 games, 3 goals, 12 assists, 15 points.
All right.
So depth signing.
Depth signing. And you get a depth defenseman and you lose a depth defenseman with Dean Kukin returning to Switzerland.
If he does, yeah. Yeah. I want to end this like I don't want to cry. Huh. You know how I want to end this.
Yeah.
So it's been a really hard couple of days for me, which is why we didn't have a show on Tuesday.
Yeah, God, that's 3 weeks for us, man. Have been rough, obviously, with the loss of my aunt, and obviously for you.
I lost my Franklin this week.
16 years, though. I was telling you before the show. Hell of a really, really cute, sweet dog from what you've told me and from what I've seen. And 16 years is a hell of a life. So that was.
I had him ever since I was 7 years old. He grew up with Seth, basically, Seth was born in 04 and like late November 04, and then Franklin was May of 06. So they basically grew up together.
Yeah.
He was my first best friend.
Yeah. Man's best friend, Dogs are the best.
He was with me through a lot.
You said that he was part of your senior pictures, right?
He was a part of my high school senior pictures. Yeah. And that was really fun. He actually behaved. He was rotten to the core a lot of the times. We had points, like I remember when we first had to get, he would run off a lot. So we had to get him like the invisible fence thing.
Oh, yeah.
The shot collar invisible fence thing. And there were a lot of times where he still would test the limits and go out anyway.
Wow.
Like he would wear down his battery and then run off.
Damn, he's a strategic dog.
He was smart. He was dumb.
As all every dog is smart and dumb at the same time, aren't they?
Yeah. He had the cutest little like underbite. Like he would just look at you and just look at you like this. He was overweight a lot, by a few pounds, because he's a mid-sized dog. And he was always like, he was on the chunkier side, like 35 pounds. Right. He's supposed to max out at like 30, right?
Yeah.
So he wasn't too overweight, but he lived a long and good life.
Yeah, beautiful, man.
When he was a pup, his ears were just huge. It's just like that. I remember we used to his plushes. We always bought him like Angry Birds plushes to play fetch with and stuff. One year when he was like 10, we got him a lump of coal instead. A plush lump of coal. I just still remember hearing like a trot like this on the hardwood.
Oh, that's funny.
And then whenever he would run, he would always run like this. He wouldn't run like a horse. He would just front feet, like both at the same time. It's just
like a rabbit
almost like a rabbit. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that pillow that I showed off, Easter was the last time I got to see him. That pillow was made from it was my youngest brother's idea. It was Sammy's idea.
Yeah.
He found this guy that can make pillows out of whatever picture you have, right? And I took this picture like winter break of 2019. It was like late at night, early in the morning, something. I have it pulled up right here. He was just kind of laying there at the edge of my bed, just looking at the window. It's beautiful. Look at him.
Aw, that's sweet. That's a good photo of him.
the lighting just turned out really nice. And,
For real.
like,
I was gonna say they did a good job on the pillow.
yeah, they did a really, and you can see the BG dog tag that I got him and everything.
Yeah.
Um,
Bowling Green pup. Yeah.
We lost our cat Sophie last year around Mother's Day, which hurt my mom a lot.
Yeah.
We lost Frank this year. They're at our land, buried next to each other.
Aw. That's good that they get to be together.
So
I always love when like you can do stuff like that because that's like the way to do it, you know. We actually, so it was tough with us because obviously, like, you know, situation. I'll tell everybody because lost my aunt at age of 51. She had esophageal cancer, and I want to say was diagnosed by September or October of 2020.
oh.
Did a surgery to, you know, let's say
To try. Yeah.
And it was successful, but what they didn't know, they didn't discover, was that it had spread to the brain.
Mm.
It was stage 4 cancer, and she was given 3 hours to 3 days to live in April of last year.
Wow.
And they did a life-saving brain surgery, gamma knife surgery on her. And through all of it, we got, you know, well over, and we had an extra like 13 months out of her, which was great. What a gift. What a beautiful gift. And around that time in 2020, she lost her mother to cancer. And so obviously that was tough on her. And then, you know, you losing your mother to cancer, and then you get cancer. Like, I can't imagine.
Yeah, that's brutal. I mean, we lost
family.
We lost Sophie because she ran out and got hit.
Oh.
And again, that was like right before Mother's Day. So like on Mother's Day, mom did not get out of bed. And she was only 6.
Yeah.
And then losing Frank, like we only knew it was a matter of time.
Right.
His hips were shot. We kept him on antibiotics. He just couldn't hold his bodily fluids anymore either.
The connection to Mother's Day is actually my aunt passed away at 11:05 p.m. on Mother's Day. And my cousin Colin, he just turned 18, so he was still 17 at the time. He's got another year of high school. He said it most beautifully to all of us was like when it officially happened, when she passed away, she was like, wow, she got to be with everyone for Mother's Day. You know, she got to be with her family one last day, because they weren't even sure, like last year, like, oh my God, like, are we even going to get our mom to Mother's Day? They got 2 more Mother's Days with her.
That was like losing
the amazing work of medical professionals being able to do what they can, you know.
That was like losing my grandpa. We got one more Christmas with him, and then like a month later, he passed from complications with routine gallbladder procedure. They screwed up his procedure, and he passed. But
oh my God, that's.
Anyway, to end on this somber, I hate to end this.
Yeah, I hate to end like that too, but like I think for us, like it's fair to at least like let people know like kind of why we've been as absent as we've been during the Stanley Cup playoffs that we've been looking so forward to.
That we've been, wanting to do 2 shows a week as much as we could.
Yeah.
Rest easy, big guy.
Yeah. Love you, big guy.
This episode's for Frank.
Put that in the title. Have that be a title. He deserves it.
Well, we'll figure one out. Yeah. I think I have one already.
What is it?
Like playoff Puggle.
Yeah, do it.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see where we're at for Tuesday. Hopefully we can have a show on Tuesday.
Yeah.
But we'll see y'all then. So thank you guys. Thank you all for the show, for your patience, for everything.
Love you guys.
We love you all.
J. Jake Jackets, a podcast for fifth liners and all puckheads around. Follow the guys on Twitter at Snake Gehringer, GARRINGER, and at by J Ashdown. And subscribe on YouTube or wherever you listen. March on.